Hey, you guys, so this is the video for the first lesson. We're talking about solving linear equations. I'm going to have 7 examples, okay? So with these 7 examples, you should get through the assignment pretty easily. Okay, so here's example number 1. So here's my equation. X over 3 is equal to 2x minus 7. Okay, so here you want to get the x's together. You want to solve for x, so get the x's together. I want to subtract 2x from both sides. That could work, but it's hard because you have an x minus 3 here, so you have a fraction. So if I do that, I have x over 3 plus 2x, which is doable, right? Which is doable, but then now I have x over 3 plus 2x is kind of hard. So an easier way would be for me to multiply the whole equation by 3 to get rid of this 3. Now remember, when you do it, you got to do the whole side, right? The 3 times the whole side. So 3 times the whole side. So if I multiply this side by 3, I multiply this side by 3, and I remember to apply that to every single term in both sides. So here, 3 times x over 3 means 3 times x divided by 3. That cancels out. I have x is equal to, now this side, I have to do that to both terms, okay? Remember, terms are things separated by a plus or a minus sign. So the 3 goes in and multiply to that and to that, okay? So I have 6x minus 21. Now I can subtract the 6x from both sides. Remember, I do that to the whole equation, all right? 6x minus 21 minus 6x. So that goes away, and I have negative 5x is equal to negative 21, and then I divide both sides by negative 5, the whole thing by negative 5. I have x is equal to 21 over 5. Okay? Let's go to example number 2. I have negative 5x minus 10 is equal to 3 times x minus 7. Okay, here you want to bring this x and join it with this x, and you want to bring the negative 10 and join it with the numbers over here. Okay, x is on one side and numbers on the other. Now here, can you subtract x from here and then subtract this x from both sides to bring this x over to this x? You can't do that because over here there are 2 operations around this x. What you see here is 3 times the parentheses x minus 7. So when you see a bunch of operations around your x and you want to get rid of these numbers, you have to go opposite of the order of operations, okay? So order of operations says you do parentheses first, and then you do the thing outside. Here, you have to go opposite, so you do the thing outside first. So you have to divide by 3 here, and you divide both sides by 3. So if I divide both sides by 3, I have to divide this entire thing by 3. So that means the 5 divided by 3 and 10 divided by 3, that gives me some nasty fractions, okay? That gives me some fractions that I don't want to deal with. It still works, okay, you guys? It still works, but I just don't want to do that. So one way is I can just simplify this by multiplying it in. And so I get rid of the 2 operations now, right? I have just 3 times x minus 21. Okay, so this side comes down. Now this 3x can be subtracted from both sides because it's no longer stuck to this, right? If I subtract the 3x from both sides, now I have negative 8x minus 10 is equal to negative 21. And I add 10 to both sides. I have negative 8x is equal to negative 11. And x is equal to, well, divide both sides by negative 8. I have 11 over 8. All right. right, example number 3. X plus 5 is equal to 2x minus 2 over 4. Okay, here, again, this x is multiplied to this 2 and subtracted by the 2 and all of that divided by 4. So every time you see a bunch of things on top of a fraction or at the bottom of a fraction, it means that there are parentheses around the top and parentheses around the bottom. Okay, so you can't just add 2 to both sides right now because it's stuck inside the parentheses. So these guys are stuck together. You can't do anything with them until you've done the other part. So I have to get rid of this 4 before I can do anything to this 2 or this 2. So what I would do is I would multiply the whole thing by 4. Multiply the whole thing on the other side by 4. So here this 4 cancel with that 4. I have just 2x minus 2 left. Over here I have 4 times x and 4 times 5. I have 4x plus 20. Okay, now you can solve that. Subtract 2x and subtract 20. I have 2x is equal to negative 22 divided by 2x is equal to negative 11. Example 4. We're almost there, guys. Just a few more. Okay, negative 4x plus 5 times x plus 3 is equal to negative 10. Now, if you guys are good with these, you don't have to watch the whole thing. Okay, you can just skip that. All right, so here I have my x's on the same side. I don't have to move anything to the other side. What I want to do is combine this x with this x. But again, this x is stuck inside parentheses and then multiply to the 5. So I have to get rid of this 5 here first before I can combine that with this x. So what I would have to do is multiply it in. So I have negative 4x plus 5x plus 15 is equal to negative 10. So here I combine these now because it's not stuck inside parentheses anymore. So I add these. I have just x plus 15 is equal to negative 10. And I subtract 15. X is equal to negative 25. Example number 5. Last one of this type. Okay, so I have x over 5 plus 2 equals to x over 4. So I can just subtract this whole thing, right? Subtract x over 5 on both sides. So I have 2 is equal to x over 4 minus x over 5, whatever that is, right? So when you have two fractions, different denominator, it's kind of hard to subtract them. So another way to, well, it still works, okay? You can do that. You can make common denominator and get that to work. But an easier way is to multiply both sides by 4 to get rid of that 4. Okay, so now I have 4x over 5 plus, remember the 4 also multiplied to the 2, 8 is equal to x. Okay, now I still have this 5 here, which is kind of hard. So I want to multiply both sides by 5. So here, the 5 cancel with this 5, I have 4x. And the 5 goes in and multiply to the 8, I have 40. And over here, I have 5x. And I subtract 4x from both sides. I have 40 is equal to x. I know if you guys are still learning how to solve fractions right now, this is not your first time seeing this, right? So I think the key is just to do them a lot, just get a lot of experience doing these, and they become easier. okay? Because there's so many different ways of doing it. You do them enough, you realize how to do them easier, you know. You figure out what is your favorite way of doing this. But you just need practice, that's all. So here's example 6. Here you have multiple variables. So I have area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Okay, so if I want to solve for the height, what would I do? Right? So if I want to solve for height, so I want to get rid of the things next to height, and they're both multiplying to height. So I can just get rid of them by dividing them. Okay, so to get rid of 1/2, I just multiply by 2. All right, because 1/2 times 2 becomes 1, and that goes away. So I have b times h is equal to 2a. And then I want h, so I divide it by b. So I have 2a over b is equal to h. And that's all you can do, okay? Last example. I have 2a is equal to 1/3 b plus c. And I want to solve for c. So can I just subtract b right at the beginning? No, because the b and the c are stuck inside parentheses, and that's multiplying to the 1/3. So opposite of order operations, you have to get rid of the things outside parentheses first. So to get rid of the 1/3, I would have to multiply the whole thing by 3. So multiply this thing by 3. So now I have 6a is equal to b plus c, because 3 cancels with 1/3. And now I subtract b. 6a minus b is equal to c.